What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm just doing some shop updating. Got a few things I want to add to the shop here, but also in the last few days, I've been working on the Corvair. Hopefully headed to Daytona Beach for Turkey Rod Run in 2 weeks, just under 2 weeks. But as we speak, Hurricane Nicole is doing a lot of damage along the Florida coast, but specifically Daytona Beach. So haven't booked accommodations yet, just to kind of wait out to see what everything looks like after the next couple of days with the storm. So regardless of what the weather is doing with how Daytona is going to look in the next few days or within the next 2 weeks before Rod Run, I've been needing to fix a handful of things on the Corvair. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you saw a post I made of the mechanical fuel pump in pieces, right down to every little piece that puts that thing together. I decided take one of the mechanical pumps, all the bits, and reseal everything. I don't want to jinx it, but the last few days of driving this car after rebuilding that pump, it's not leaking fuel anywhere, and it's cold starting well. So it's priming the system well, whereas before that was one of the problems was it was sucking air and it wasn't priming the system. So I wanted to make sure I got that sorted out in the next couple of weeks. So today, before getting into some shop update stuff, I figured I'd take this for a spin just to shake it down yet again. Okay, so it started a little hard. So I might have jinxed myself on that pump priming the system as easily as it has the last couple of days. But also those Rochester carburetors really need a rebuild. They really do. I've been pushing those farther than they probably want to go without a proper rebuild. Also, a bit of news, took a deposit on the Diplomat. And I'd say finally, because I've been trying to sell that car just on Instagram, to be fair, for quite a while now. But I finally put it on Marketplace and had probably, honestly, 40 messages overnight on the car. If for some reason that falls through, I'll mention it that it's still for sale. So I took the Corvair to Turkey Rod Run in Daytona in 2019, and I really wanted to bring this and the 700 this year, but since the 700's got some motor issues, I decided to not stress out over getting that thing done in time. But it'll still be a good time, I think, having this thing down there, as long as it's behaving. All right, so no matter how silly it sounds, pumpkin cream cold brew from Starbucks is absolutely fantastic. And it's seasonal, so it's going to be out of season here pretty soon. I'm not a Starbucks guy, but there's one real close to my house, and that particular beverage is quite tasty. So that's usually on deck. And yes, I need to make cup holders for the Corvair. I made some in the 700, definitely need to make some in the Corvair. Most of you guys know that the Corvair is on the 3P system from Airlift. This is actually one of the first 3P systems after they unveiled it at SEMA in 2015, actually. And all these years later, it's still working as it should. I still have yet to do a full build video on this car. My dad and I built this car in the winter of 2013 to 2014, after which I immediately drove it alone 30 hours one way to Helen, Georgia for Solo. We chopped the roof 2 inches. We custom built all the suspension to lay floor on the ground, being a unibody car. As you can see right here, that is the concrete. So thankfully, I filmed almost everything we did on this project. It was long before I ever started a YouTube channel, which I started in late 2018. But I did video document almost everything we did. Not a lot of commentary, just had a camera set up and kind of filmed a lot of the things that we did, from cutting the roof off to cutting the front cross member up and building our own control arms. So one of these days, I will film a full build video on all the footage that I compiled while my dad and I built this car. Okay, so what I'm working on today is I want to add a TV right there on the wall, just behind the workbench. And that is basically right in front of the bay I have the lift in. I went to Walmart and got a Philips UHD Smart TV, 65-inch for $348. Like, mind-blowingly cheap for a UHD Smart TV. So that's gone upstairs because I've got a Vizio 65-inch upstairs in my living room, 4 or 5 years old now, and that's the one I'm gonna bring down here. I also bought just the cheap Walmart brand big screen TV wall mount, and I've kind of laid out some things. Luckily, they've got anchors for mounting it into concrete, which is what I'm doing here, but I'm not really mounting it to a concrete wall. I'm mounting it to a cinder block wall. Already scribed, you can't see them on camera, but I've put the actual wall mount bracket up on the wall and scribed out where I want them. So all 4 anchor points are going to be along the edge of the blocks themselves, which are as deep as the block is wide. So I'll have enough concrete to grab, and I'm not going to be going through the center of the block where it's thinner. So I got the new Philips upstairs and unboxed and brought my old Vizio downstairs. And what I didn't realize is after I unboxed the Philips, how much heavier this Vizio is. I mean, honestly, probably twice as heavy. And I'm hoping it's not going to cause an issue on the wall. It does say here 120 pounds or less, and I'm pretty positive that's not 120 pounds. All right, so I got the legs taken out from underneath the TV, got it laid face down, and got the brackets for the wall mount fixed to it. That came with a few different thread pitch bolts. Luckily, the appropriate ones were there for the Vizio TV. Got those sorted out, and now I'm going to work on getting some drills holed in the concrete. Drilling to porous concrete isn't exactly the easiest, so I actually used the center punch to kind of start my hole so my bit didn't wander on me. I used the 3/8 masonry bit for these anchors. Made sure to vacuum out all of my holes. That way any debris that the bit didn't extract was pulled out, so when I hammered my anchors in, it didn't compress any materials. The bracket that comes with the wall mount has a built-in level on it, so it makes it real easy to make sure that the bracket itself is level. There's plenty of holes for mounting, and each hole is slotted, so you get a lot of adjustment in case where you're mounting it on the wall isn't symmetrical. You can get basically 4 bolts anywhere you need to on this wall mount. After getting the bracket on the wall and leveled out, I threaded the bolts in, and luckily that allowed it to stay level as well. So now it's time to figure out how I'm going to get this TV lifted up onto the wall by myself. I fell riding BMX last week and just about broke my kneecap. Might as well had. And today I'm about 60% maybe. Spent the first few days icing it 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off as ritualistically as I could. I'm feeling pretty good. We'll see. Once I get it up onto the workbench, I don't have to lift it far to get it locked onto that mount. So we'll see. I'll see if I can at least just get it up onto the workbench without too much stress. This workbench I built has 3/4 inch MDF with a lot of crossbars on this bottom pallet rack. So it's quite stable. Remember to lift with your legs, not your back. I was able to get this thing locked onto this bracket super easily. You can't see the bracket itself when you're doing it alone. I heard both clicks of both brackets locking into the mount, and there it was, right on the wall. Well, it needs a good cleaning, but it is on the wall. So I was debating on what I was going to do for a power source and how I was going to get power to the TV. I didn't have a black extension cord that I wanted to run up the black conduit to kind of hide it. The power cord for the TV would not reach an outlet. So I had this surge protector power strip, kind of more of an industrial metal bodied power strip laying around. and I did decide to mount it to the wall. Well, I'm gonna end the video there. Super excited about the new setup in the shop. This is something I've wanted to do forever, and I've just kept putting it off. This whole setup costs under $400. Now, obviously I brought my old TV down, the new one's upstairs, but a 65-inch UHD smart TV, 348, and the wall mount was $25. So you're barely $375 for this setup in your shop. Plus, the wall mount came with everything I needed to mount it to the concrete, with the anchors and the bolts. You just have to provide yourself with a hammer drill and a masonry bit. But yeah, just a quick shop update video. Stoked that the Corvair is somewhat playing ball for Turkey Rod Run coming up here in 2 weeks. Fingers crossed it stays the same. And also fingers crossed for Florida. Looks like Daytona Beach got a bunch of damage today. Throughout filming this episode, I've watched more and more Instagram stories come in. Daytona Beach looks like it got hit pretty hard with storm surge. So hopefully not too much damage, and hopefully we will see you guys at Turkey Rod Run in a couple weeks. If not, we'll see you guys in the next episode.